Hi, this is a video that I'm doing for one of our dealers, and I thought I'd share it with my channel. Anyhow, this is for RTI and how it integrates with the ISY. How I can get a button on my RTI remote to be able to control a device that I have programmed into my Insteon system through the ISY. So the first thing is you have to have a controller, and I have an XP3 here, and under drivers I'm going to want to click on it, and I can see the drivers that I have added. If I need to add a new driver, I simply can right click, I can say add driver, and you have to download it from their website. So you go to RTI's website and download the ISY driver, you point to where it is, you say open, and now it's going to show up here. The setup for the driver, when you click on it, you need to make sure that you have the IP address of your ISY, you have the username and the password, or the user ID and the password that you use to log into the ISY. Then you can go through and start naming your devices. So in your ISY, you might have multiple name descriptions for devices. You want to name them exactly the way you named them in the ISY. You're going to name them in the RTI. So let's say I have a light switch in my ISY that I called porch light. Well, you can see here there's an option for me to give a name to a device under light names. So I'm going to click here and I'm going to call it the same exact thing, porch light, and I'll put a space in, and let's say I also had a scene here. I've created one called party, but let's say I have one other scene, and that scene is called welcome home. Alright, now I can go through and name scenes and sensors and my fan link controller, and there's variables. I can give all those different categories. I can give them the exact name I named them in the ISY, and now RTI will be able to control them. Now we want to go over to our remote, and what we want to do is grab a graphic. Now over on the bottom right hand side here under drivers, and then if I go and select ISY, here are my devices and options that I have. So I've created a device called porch. I sent all this information to the controller. In other words, once I created all that, there's an option so you can download to the controller. To show you right here under communication, you want to send to device, and you can send then all the information. When I click on that, this is after I've done the programming, I have my controllers connected over the internet, so I can just tap right here and it'll automatically sync to it. My remote needs a USB connections, but I would tap here and hit send on both of them to update all the changes that I've made. So let's go back to the screen itself. So like in this case, there's a light bulb that's on the screen here. Let's say I wanted it to be a toggle, the function to be a toggle, meaning when I tap it once it's going to go on, if I tap it again it's going to go off. I can drag that element right into here. I can lay a graphic over it if I want, or I can right click onto a function. I can go to edit properties, I can go to driver command, I can choose ISY. I want it to be a light switch, and I want it to be a light toggle, and hit OK. Now I've taken this function and I've turned it into something that's going to control my porch light. Say OK. Now if I update this to both my controller and my remote, now when I tap that little button on and off where it says track, it's going to turn on the porch light. Other graphics I can bring in. So this is just if you want to do a generic button. Here you can see where it says light toggle. It just drags the name of the function onto here, and you can name it whatever you want. You probably want to do something that's got maybe some nicer graphics. So you can go in and choose the graphics here, and you can drag them in just like we have a graphic here. And once you drag the graphic, then you can attach a function to it. I'll give you another example. Right here it says scenes, and it's all on and all off. Well, or maybe even this. I'll just drag this button over here. Alright, So how about when I hit first wave, I want it to turn on something. If I right click and go to properties and then just go to driver command, and I'm going to choose ISY. Now it could very easily be my elk alarm system that I have connected. I could say, hey, when I push that button, I want to arm my system. So I could go and choose the function that I want to set. In this case, we're going to do the ISY. We're going to go to lights. But when I do this, I only want it to turn the light on. So I'm going to send a light on command. I'm going to choose my device, and then the on level here is 255 is 100%, 0 is off. And then I can say OK. And it puts a little icon in the corner here saying, hey, you've programmed that now to a driver command. You can see it's highlighted there. It's one way to tell when you look at a device, you can see if it has commands associated with it or not. Same thing here. If I go over here, I can look and it's got the same driver command. But this was a generic graphic that was created because I just dragged the function onto the screen as opposed to creating the graphic from a list of graphics here and putting it on, then right-clicking on it and editing properties. And that's pretty much all there is. Now, there is a two-way driver option, and I'm not 100% sure in this video how to show you that. I have limited experience with it, so I will leave that for another video. Hope this was helpful.